GL'd for, he's broken up in a way, and now he's on Fnatic. He was on Soul as well, so he's been flitting around a lot before he's finally found his foam on Fnatic. This guy just wants to win, and he needs the best team around him to do it.
Seems like they're going to be able to get some pretty decent loot to back them up. Level 2s, level 3s pretty much abound for Fnatic as they do leave their position down to the southwest and head on up towards the circle. They're going to have to push through Orange Rock unless they go for a clockwise rotation up towards the north. They are going to have to push directly through some really quite strong teams at the moment.
It's weird because the circle is just so barren towards the middle other than Entity. Entity currently holding the junction.
Yeah. They're looking to try and be the proverbial traffic lights of that intersection.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Yeah, so far it's not so bad. Al Azahar, you got Mayhem up there. Mayhem weren't so hot in the group stages, let's be honest. I think they had it was a weird thing for them that they played off the back foot really well, because you'd see them coming in from the circle, taking pot shots at people, and it seemed that they like to play under pressure, kind of like me when I wrote my essays in university, worked well under pressure there. Maybe that's exactly how Mayhem do it in PUBG Mobile. Trusty Process, though, they want to get as far away from any team as possible in Campo Militar. They're getting geared. They're getting geared big time.
They're going to have anything they want. They think of a thing in PUBG Mobile, they could have it.
Level 3 best?
Yeah, sure.
Spetsnaz helmet?
Oh, 2 of them.
Though.
Have 3.
Have 3.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, they won't be able to get that unless a loot crate does drop out that way. First circle is going to close in. IND still to push on through. Fnatic are going a little bit split, 2 and 2 at the moment. Reckoning doing a similar thing coming from that western side. They're going to be moving through a couple of other teams as well in the mix as we do move on forwards.
Yeah, I think that you could probably make a rotation up past Crater Fields on the side and north of water treatment. It's a really long rotation you have to make because water treatment is not ideal because it's in a ditch. And San Martin, also a difficult place to rotate through. So most of these teams are just going to come through the south and try and make it through Impala or push through Minas Generalis, where there is a lot of cover, a lot of compounds to be had, which is why you're not seeing a lot of these rotations on the northern side, even though it does look so free, right? But the terrain here on Miramar just does not allow for it.
Yeah, Entity coming under a little bit of pressure. They're trying to hold down that compound just to the east of Hacienda del Patron. They should be pretty happy to do so. There's a lot of teams, though, that are going to be looking to push past. You could see they are stopping a lot of these squads from actually moving further north into the circle. With this next one as well, this southern wedge, this southwestern side, is deadly for anyone who isn't quite in there yet. Reckoning, Fnatic, Orb, IND.
It's bad news bears for these teams. And I think INS have basically got the winning card here upon the northwestern side of the map. They could just move down from water treatment into Hacienda del Patron. And really, Fnatic's had a tough time of it because with Entity sitting here at the junction, Synergy Retribution had to stop behind them. Everyone just gets backed up in this massive traffic jam behind them. And you just get this thing where it's like teams are just in a line behind each other in a queue trying to get into the circle.
Oasis and Scout trapped behind a blown out vehicle. It looks like the rest of the team might try and come in and back them up out of the blue. They are pretty close. They might just be able to make it on foot, but they will be pretty shoddy in terms of the remaining players. And I think Reckoning are just going to leave them to it. Fnatic going to go with all sorts of power moving on forwards.
It's fair enough, right? And I think now that Entity want to move, INS have put themselves in a position in front of them. So now Entity are locked between Orange Rock as well as INS. This is a bad position for them right now, especially because they're playing within the valley there. They're kind of difficult. Really now it's just Blind and Trusty Process coming down from the northern side, looking to control Cruz de Val, Tierra Bronca, as well as coming down into El Azahar. That's currently occupied by Mayhem. But pretty much 14 of the other teams are all just down here in this bottom quarter of the circle. So it's going to get terrifying very quickly, which is quite surprising on Miramar, where we expect teams to be quite far away from each other for a very long time.
It's the choke that we see sort of between Los Leones and Picado. A lot of the teams were funneled through that. No one broke out to the east side. Because no one dropped Los Leones, no one was sort of looking to make those rotations early. No one really went super southeast. It was a drop from the north as well, which means that not too many teams are going to be dropping out super late. So having that funnel in place where everybody just crunched together is what we're seeing the effects of now.
Indeed. I know it's really hard to move past the junkyard right now. It's difficult. The terrain forward from here, you're going to get a massive speed bump as you hit up towards the roads. Water treatment, on the other hand, is just completely barren. You don't need that anymore. INS, though, again, just holding Entity back, and the squeeze is there for Orange Rock.
Entity trying to spike out from behind the vehicle at the moment. Jonathan, see, he's just going to step back, blow up the party bus, give himself a little bit of hard cover. Now he can start to take the fight a little bit more effectively against Megastars. But it's just going to be a little bit of spray, a little bit of argy-bargy. Nothing too much to worry about.
This is what happened to Orange Rock, though, last time, and could happen similarly to Megastars. And it's really what I would call the squeeze, because is the source worth the squeeze here to take these teams out? Like, you've got to really ask yourself that question at the end of the day.
Do you need to unscrew the top, get the knife out, try and get the source out?
Make the rotation around the lid, like... I think at that point, you have to move out of here. Orange Rock were caught out by this last time on Vikendi, where they just stuck around for too long around 8-bit, and they didn't make that rotation early enough with Team Insane. And I think if they maybe had made that rotation there, they might have been able to even take down Trusty Process on the southern side and set themselves up for victory later game. Again, these are all hypotheticals, and they could or could not have happened.
The circle moving a little bit out towards the east as Entity have to leave their junction. They will be still 4 strong, but the center of the circle not being super kind to IND at the moment. They are getting crunched on. ETG Brawlers slap bang in the center yet again. This is a really good start. Again, just holding up on that hillside north of Junkyard. Setting up those smokes, using those defibrillades. We know how strong they are atop a hill. They are really hard to displace.
Super hard to displace. You're completely right, John. Here's your next circle, though. Moves very much towards on top of Junkyard. A lot of high ground available here for these teams. It's really tough stuff going forward. And INS, this is the thing I was talking about earlier. They're making the quick decision to come down. They've got a lot of really good players on this team. They've been together for a very long time. You've got Smokey. FTW has been one of the mainstays in PUBG Mobile for such a long time. This is the player that Scout actually was talking in his interview with Nodwin before, saying that, you know what, this guy inspired me to be better. This guy inspired me to whack the OP on the end of my name.
Absolutely. You mean, gotta get it done. Orange Rock going for a bold push down on the southwest side. Synergy Retribution will spot out Sandu. Crucial player for the squad. Trying to regroup the rest of his team, but not really going to find too much luck there.
So split.
Carry trying to razz it on through, right through the middle of Salty. And actually Fnatic as well was at the back. He's managed to make it. He might be able to regroup with the rest of his squad. Should be pretty happy with that. The blue zone moving on in is going to push everyone further forwards. Fnatic have ditched their vehicles already and actually broken out on foot. So a little bit more difficult for them to be rotating these large distances.
But again, I think it's a decent decision from them, because from our view, you can see the map here. This part of the map is just so heavy on terrain. You can actually see it on your screen. Just look at all the hills that you have to traverse by car. Most of the time, if you've got a Mirado in this situation, you are not making up that hill very quickly. And these players, they've got a nasty amount of aim on them, and they can spray you down so easily. So even here, the boys from Reckoning, they're going to go down the hill and try and rotate round through the road. They're not going to risk going over this terrain. It's too dangerous.
Megastars have gone all the way further north, and they're going to find that they are going to get that dividend paid out over on the northern shift. Huge feature of this circle now, Blank. The road cutting it into thirds over on the northern side. You've got Blind and Megastars vying for control there, but there is definitely a valley to be worried about.
Now, you in group stages, in fact, yourself said this, right? On Sandhawk, the roads become like rivers. Here, this road is like a lake. Like, how do you play on there unless you're inside that small compound that is available for you just at the bottom? You can't play it. You're just so open unless you're like hugging the wall. And in that case, you've basically surrendered yourself just to placement points.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky. Fnatic clashing with Salty Squad on the southwestern side as they both try and leave towards this next circle. Looks like Fnatic have already struck an out, though, Scout going to push on ahead and just leaving the rear guard to deal with the shots raining on through. Everyone as well crunching into the southern side on the hillsides there. A lot of divots, a lot of ground to be playing around. Everyone looks for their place.
Yeah, Megastar has actually done a decent rotation here towards the northern side, and now they're going to claim that alongside Blind. Blind really want to get rid of these players as soon as possible. That would be excellent for them, and then they can control that whole northern side of the circle. People are not getting to them very quickly. Ronak falls and gets immediately confirmed.
Yeah, he is going to go down, unfortunately. INS as well, clashing with Nepali Honi. This is sort of almost dead center in the circle. The Brawlers on the south side, they are into this next circle, but at the moment, it's Nepali Honi trying to hold it down. Salty lose a player as well as the 3 players from Fnatic who are still alive. They're already well away. They just lost 1 on that rotation. So nicely done to be able to get in there. Reckoning getting descended on now by Entity. And they are going to lose 1 to the downs. As they're trying to look for a few more. Neo just in the smoke, moving on forwards. Swaps out the weapon. And they're just going to rattle it on through. Nicely done for Entity as they claim a little bit more ground on the western side, just south of the river. The road.
Yeah, and INS will also make the clean sweep over to Nepali Honi. Salty squad go out in the circle all together. A true brothership there.
Oh, yeah.
But that shows just the smart decision-making from Fnatic. They've done the damage, and they're like, okay, we're going to leave. Maybe we lose Ronak in the process, but we're going to have 3 members who make it into the circle. You'll have none.
Entity starting off pretty well. This is what I said I wanted to see from them. This is the things that we can see from them, right? They are a squad who has, in the past, had some great impacts moving forwards. Or a few players over on that eastern side. You can see Mad Dog now trying to piece it together for them. But Mayhem are there. You've got Synergy Retribution over waiting, maybe looking for some shots. As well as Trusty Process looking over that way. It's a really tricky place to be playing around. There's everybody else looking for their position. Fnatic have control of a compound just to the southwestern side. They will have some hard cover there to be playing around. Everyone else out on the hillside.
The problem is, John, is that unless we get a massive southwest shift here, it has to be a yoinker. Fnatic will have to move over open ground into Entity and INS's line of sight, which is going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to rely on one of these teams taking shots. And it does! Oh
okay.
My God.
All right. Orange.
Fnatic are going to be absolutely screaming in their dugouts about that one. Very, very happy.
Orange Rock got eliminated. I didn't see that on my screen, but they did. They are out. And they are no longer in the running. A 3rd poor showing from the group stage champions.
I think you can almost count them out now.
Maybe. I mean, we've seen that they do have the potential. They do have the potential to be able to frag out their mines, but they are just not showing it. And frankly, it is disappointing to see them come in like this. I wanted more from them.
We set up this game as this is Orange Rock's map, right?
Yeah.
This is Orange Rock's map. We saw some circle look for them there on Miramar in the group stages, and they're just not able to they've not been able to summon that same strength that we saw from the group stages so far. Like I say, John, there is still games left, but they're going to have to frag out of their mind, and it has to be a completely different Orange Rock next game.
Absolutely. The ETG Brawlers as well getting a little bit of circle luck as they are pretty much guaranteed to have every single game. Nicely done. But they are just on the southeastern side, challenging near a ridgeline as well. They've got a lot of control here. You can see the ground around them kind of favors that all angles defense that they need at the moment. And they are going to be able to capitalize.
Yeah. One thing we didn't talk about was the fact that Mega Stars as well as Blind have both been forced away from that northern position, which they thought was